Hey, this is yours truly, Mr. Panuka from Panuka Farm, right here in Lusaka, Zambia. So just in case this is your first time, this is the Panuka Farm YouTube channel, where we do provide quite a lot of tidbits on farming, ranging from different aspects, poultry, and also crop farming. So today we just want to touch base on the issue of sweet pepper farming. I think we've been having quite a lot of questions around how we manage to grow these sweet peppers to that height. So I think we'll just touch base on some of the tidbits that enables us to get it right on sweet pepper production. So let's dive in. So the sweet pepper that we're actually reviewing today was transplanted on the 17th of May 2021. So today is the 16th of January 2022. So that translates to around 8 months in terms of the production period for this crop. So like we've indicated, I think quite a number of times, one of the critical aspects to sweet pepper farming is the issue of variety. So what we have here is Duke and Diva. These are red and yellow peppers by Starkite. So this variety has actually done quite well with us. I wouldn't say it's the best, but I think for our management practices, I think what we like about this variety is the fact that it's a bit forgiving. You can actually see this is not the perfect crop. It's got a bit of powdery mildew and a few nutritional deficiencies, but what we actually see is that it actually continues to be productive despite some of these aspects. So despite being an old crop, you can actually see that at the top it actually continues to be a lot more productive. Obviously down here there's no production that's going on, but then we harvested at the time the crop was actually at this height. And so what you see, which is one of the reasons we like it, is the fact that despite being hit by a few nutritional and pests issues, sometimes it actually accounts for itself quite very well. You can actually see quite a lot of sweet peppers at the top there coming up. There you go. You can actually see again more red fruits at the top there, a mix with some green sweet pepper that's still coming up. Obviously this crop is in its evenings, but I think you can actually see that even in its evenings it still remains quite productive. Obviously pretty soon, say February, we should be retiring this crop, but there you go. Still accounting for itself quite very well with some very decent fruits. There you go, 4 lobes. Yeah. So besides the issue of the variety, like we indicated, one of the issues is just the land preparation. And I think we've indicated previously, if you've watched some of our videos, that we do develop these fertility trenches. So in a greenhouse like this, which is 9 meters in terms of width, we're actually able to plant about 10 lines in batches of 2. So each of these lines has actually 2 lines of sweet pepper, around 80 centimeters between plants. And you actually see here around 1 meter before you get to the other lines that has 2 lines of sweet pepper. So once you've transplanted, you've got to be very patient, because this crop takes quite a while for it to actually show you that it's actually growing. But I think around 3 months, you actually see that it will have some very sizable fruits. At that point, then if you are intending to harvest it as green, then you can actually proceed. But if you intend that to remain as colored pepper, red or yellow, then you wait for another extra month to about 4 months. Now in the process, some of the issues you've got to do is, you know, the pruning. I think that's very, very critical, you know, fruit sizing. And what you actually see here is that we do maintain a two-stem, you know, system. You can actually see there's quite some consistency in that. These are two stems. The other side you can actually see. So that we are very consistent with the two-stem system. So all over here we've got two-stem, you know, system making a V. This makes it a lot easier in terms of you know, management and trellising. And so we actually trellis it, you know, all the way up, you know, going, you know, heavenwards. Yeah. Now we have actually tried, you know, a 3-stem, you know, system, but we actually saw that it's a bit bushy, a bit difficult to manage. But obviously you have a bit more fruit. But I think for us, we feel the 2, you know, stem system is actually working quite well. And I think with farming, what works for you, stick with it. At some point, I think it's not good for you to continue with, you know, experiments. So this, I think, gives us a bit more room to operate. You can actually see there's a bit of room down here. Yeah, of course, now it's kind of covered. It's a thicket. But I think when it's growing with a lot of vegetative, you know, growth, you want to make sure that, you know, you have room to operate. So what tends to happen is that, you know, if you have too many branches, say for a 3-stem, you know, system, the size of the fruits, you know, sometimes, you know, kind of reduces. But for us, we actually have to maintain around 200 to 300, you know, grams per, you know, sweet pepper, you know. So I think the 2-stem, you know, system has actually worked, you know, quite well for us. Yeah. So I think, yeah, those are some of the preliminary, you know, aspects that you've got to, you know, take care of. So the nutrition aspect, I think, is another, you know, issue that you've got, you know, to take care of. So let me just walk you through some of the, you know, typical issues that you're actually going to see from a nutritional perspective, and also disease, you know, aspects. So here's our nutritional, you know, chart. So obviously, the nitrogen, you know, aspects, the yellowing of, you know, leaves, phosphorus, these do manifest themselves a lot, I think, in the infancy of the crop. But as the crop, you know, grows a bit older, you actually see one of the most, you know, prevalent, you know, nutritional issues with sweet pepper is, you know, potassium. Obviously, that affects, you know, the fruiting as well. So this is how the potassium deficiency will manifest itself in your sweet peppers. And then from there, one of the, you know, aspects we've actually seen, which is a lot more menacing, is magnesium deficiency. This is a killer for sweet pepper. Obviously, the books will say otherwise, but I think from my own, you know, experience, this is a huge one. That is not to say that that's the only paramount, you know, nutrient. Again, you actually see that calcium also. If there's a deficiency, you see, you know, fruits, you know, looking like this. Some element of blossom, you know, end rot. So you actually see a lot of this if your calcium, you know, is deficient in the crop. So I think it's very important for you to really be, you know, aware about, you know, the different, you know, nutritional profiles and indicators of deficiency in the crop, so that you avoid, you know, giving wrong, you know, prescription to the crop. Okay. So yes, we may not be, you know, spot on even ourselves. Sometimes we do get caught up. And so let's just get into the field so that, again, I show you in reality, the realism on the ground, what's going on with this old sweet pepper. So here's the combination of, you know, potassium and magnesium, you know, deficiency. But obviously also, given that this is an old crop, you actually see, again, there's some element of powdery mildew that has also, you know, attacked this sweet pepper. But again, this is why we love this variety. You know, some of the varieties, if they actually hit with some of these nutritional deficiencies and also diseases, they can actually hardly, you know, survive. You will not actually see any decent, fruiting that's going on. So this is what you actually want with, a crop that is a bit more, tough in terms of withstanding some of the onslaught of diseases and nutritional deficiencies. Because sometimes it's just not, easy to get it right, 100%. Yeah. So I think it's always good to have inputs that can, treat you that you are human, prone to error. You're not a machine. So I think that's very critical. So yeah, powdery mildew is actually emerging as one of the critical, aspects that do affect, sweet pepper. But I think this is more prevalent in, English cucumbers, and not so much in sweet peppers. With sweet peppers, nutritional deficiencies, what we've just talked about, the aspects of, magnesium and potassium, those are the most, menacing ones that you've got to look out for in a sweet pepper crop. Obviously, again, the aspect of field hygiene, very important. Much as this, crop is actually getting old, but you can actually see very, clean, fields. Credit to our team for this. We really aspire to make sure that all our fields are very clean, completely, weed free. That's what you want to see. So avoid, tempting the crop, starting to compete with, weeds. So pepper, like any other crop, also does not like, weeds. So in some of the emerging, branches, we're actually seeing also some element of potassium, but much more of also iron deficiency. But this certainly is not a wanted branch. Ideally, it should have actually been removed. And we have, talked about the reason why we actually farm, sweet pepper in, greenhouses. The issue is about reducing the incidences of this, which is usually characterized with, sun rays. So this is sun scald. And you actually see that if you are, producing sweet pepper in open field, this will actually be a lot more prevalent. But this one is actually facing the sun. This is just right at the entrance of the greenhouse, and so it gets, hit by the sun quite a lot. And this is the more reason why you actually see this in the greenhouse. But otherwise, if we actually get into, the center of this, greenhouse, you actually see that we have other problems other than, the issue of, sun scald. So that's a plus with also, greenhouse farming. In a shade net, obviously, that also gets minimized. But in open field, you actually see this a lot more prevalent. So that's a very critical, aspects too. So in the quest just to show you the contrast with this aging, crop, we will give you a bit of snippets, into some of the newer, greenhouses that are actually, destined to take over from this crop. Remember, with horticulture farming, it's about, consistency. So as this, greenhouse gets old, obviously some of the younger ones have to take over. So let's get there so that we just show you what's going on in the newer greenhouses. So this is one of the younger, sweet peppers that is destined to take over from the old, sweet pepper we just, looked at. And so far it's actually doing very well. We just finished trellising this week. So very critical. And like we just indicated in the previous, greenhouse, some of the protocols needs to be maintained, weed free. And you can actually see already from the younger one, we've got two stem system there. Again, consistency there. So you can actually see quite a lot of consistency in terms of just our protocols. It's not always easy to get it right, but we're making some good progress. So this is one of the greenhouses that is coming up to take over from the old ones. So let's move on to the next greenhouses. And so here we come to another exciting greenhouse, looking very good. We actually have two here. We'll get into the next one there, which is doing just as fine as this one. We've actually seen this one has already, some very decent fruits, and then they're already turning, red. But there you go. This is just an aerial view of this greenhouse. that is how this crop, you know, looks like. So this is the successor to the old crop we just you know, talked about. So let's just take a deep dive into this crop. The vegetation is on point, the fruiting is also on point. You know, you'd actually be tempted to think the you know, the vegetativeness is a bit too excessive, but I think it's just right on the money. And what you want to see is, you know, this kind of picture. Obviously, even if we do a diagnosis here, to actually give you full marks. So that's what we want to see on a sweet pepper, you know, crop. And you can actually see that this is really destined to be another, you know, thick, you know, forest of sweet peppers. You can actually see they're actually hidden right in the you know, thicket here. And this thicket is actually very good. If you can actually do this in open field, that would be good, because then that provides you know, some foliage that you know, minimizes the incidences of sun scout on the fruits. So if you can do that, that would be good. You can actually see some, you know, fruits are already beginning to turn, you know, color. Quite a number that we are already spotting in this greenhouse. This is what we have in here. So what we do is that let's get to the other greenhouse so that you also see what's going on in the other greenhouse, so that you see whether there's consistency in the way we are managing this crop, you know, in relation to the other, you know, greenhouses that we've already shown you. We are in now the other, you know, and final greenhouse that we're actually going to show you today. So this is another, you know, sweet pepper, you know, greenhouse here, same age, you know, with the other, you know, greenhouse we showed you. And again, in here we've got the same, you know, variety, Duke and Diva by Stack Eyes. I mean, you can actually see it's actually delivering the goods. So yeah, so far we're actually happy with you know, the sweet pepper, how it's progressing. So basically this is the progression of sweet pepper, you know, to that very tall, you know, sweet pepper that you actually saw. These are some of the processes that you know, you see, what we do on the farm. We are far from being perfect even ourselves. I think our, you know, agronomists that come through, you know, from the likes of Holland Green Tech once in a while to check on us, you know, always find us wanting in one way or the other. But I think we are, you know, willing to learn and keep, you know, improving by the day. Farming is a cyclical, you know, venture, and so I think you're actually judged on, you know, your ability to be consistent in, you know, your management practices, and also reproducing, you know, some very good crops. So this has been yours truly, you know, Mr. Panuka here from Panuka Farm. I hope this video again has been a bit more enlightening on you know, sweet pepper production. I know we've done quite a number of these videos, but yeah, once in a while we just have to remind you and also show you how we're progressing and see whether we're really, you know, progressing or, you know, going backwards. We just want to make sure that when we provide you some of the tidbits on, say, sweet pepper production or any other crop that we do, you can also, you know, appraise us, you know, and that's why we also get into the fields to really show you what's going on. Okay, so thank you so much for tuning in, and please remember to smash that you know, bell, you know, button, so that you know, next time you know, can actually see the video. So please remember to subscribe and spread the word. Don't be stingy with information. Let others also get to hear about this you know, juicy tidbits on sweet pepper production. Have a lovely one. Bye bye.